Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's lesson is about character thumbnailing. Now I've gone over lessons before with character thumbnailing and scribbling something out on paper, but I want to go a little bit more in depth about the silhouette and the importance of having a strong silhouette within your character designs. Unfortunately, this little bit of information kind of goes unnoticed among aspiring concept artists, especially when they start making character designs for their personal projects or just trying to have something that looks good for the portfolio. I feel like a lot of the art directors out there listening can agree the thumbnailing stage is often overlooked. And I am guilty of this too at some point, because before I really started to investigate the importance of thumbnailing, I would just jump right into a character design that I felt was already good in my head. And then when I would try to get this out on paper, it wouldn't turn out the way I would hoped, the way I would have hoped. I think that many of you probably could attest to that. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just scribbling on a cloaked warrior. Okay, I really don't have a set plan for what's about to happen on this page, other than I know that this warrior is a fighter, possibly a sorcerer, and I do like the hooded aspect. I always thought that the character designs for any kind of dark fantasy game or dark fantasy movie, Assassin's Creed, those types of games where they had some kind of a hooded figure, very mysterious. I thought those were very intriguing. I'm going to be putting a little bit more emphasis on the shadows in this, just so it really shows up. Now notice how I'm not thinking about individual details. I'm just giving a hint that those details are there. So for example, we know that there may be some chest straps going on. There's maybe a couple weapons attached to the back. As a matter of fact, I'll probably put like a pouch here on the waist. There we go, very layered. The layered look always looks pretty cool. The other thing is, when I was mentioning about silhouettes are what makes your character very recognizable regardless of what you're looking at. So for example, if you play any RPG, okay, let's name a few. StarCraft, World of Warcraft. If you're looking down at an aerial view of the battlefield, regardless of what game it is, you always can tell certain props, certain enemies, certain heroes based on the silhouette, and you don't even really have to make out what those characters are yet by name. You just know what they are. Like if it's a bad thing, if it's a good thing, don't go near it, etc. You know what, I think put some animal skin up here. I'm sketching with black Prismacolor pencil. You can probably see it here. So this it says warrior. I guess you'd call it a warrior now. It's kind of evolving as I'm drawing it. This warrior is built for colder weather, obviously. And I don't even know what I want to put in the hands necessarily. This is the free-flowing idea that thumbnailing can really provide you, and that you don't have to get stuck in your head, oh my gosh, my character has to look a certain way. Because 9 times out of 10, when you start drawing like that, you're going to get frustrated at your own designs because it never turned out the way you would have hoped. And by doing so, you'll never finish a drawing. So you'll never finish your personal projects. They just float in nothingness. And then all of a sudden, a month goes by and you realize, man, if I would have just stuck with that personal project that I started back in June, and it being November or something, you could have had a really good, big personal project for your portfolio. But lo and behold, it's a bunch of unfinished stuff. All right, so I think this arm right here, let's put a nice dagger coming up, or something kind of like a short sword. There we go. Ooh, it's double. I didn't even mean to put that extra mark. It's double, but now the character has double sword. Okay, so the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly put some shading on the outside so that it brings emphasis to the silhouette and the edges of the character so that we can see it. Now, I don't know what is going on underneath all of this layering. That's up to you to decide. You know, one of the beautiful things about thumbnailing is it's open to interpretation for whoever is looking at it. There we go. Okay. So that one's kind of cool, but I think I'll go to the next one. So let's just do one. And I might have to sharpen this regularly because it's, you know, black Prismacolor, it's wax. So it takes up a lot more even when you press lightly. All right, let's move on. Okay, so the other thing about thumbnailing is that whenever you do it, make sure that your next silhouette is different than the first one. Now, there is something to be said about thumbnailing for the same character, but just different clothing, because then you have to have the same stature for the character. But since I don't really have a set type of human that I want, could be female, could be male, could be a giant, short, I just want to see what happens. All right, so right away, this one is a little bit more hulking. Looks like Nathan Jones or something. Okay, so you can see here that I'm just lightly putting in some shading where the head is. I don't know if the character has dreads, if the character is bald, I don't, or even have a small hood or a helmet. I don't know. But what I am intrigued about is this mountain of what could be animal skin flowing over here. If that's the case, you know, this warrior is bigger. Okay, so I think that's becoming established right away. Almost like Kingpin. Okay, there we go. And all these little light scribbles that I'm putting around that are kind of just intersecting each other, those are forming what could be shapes of clothing. That's what I want all of you to be doing right now. So hopefully you have grabbed your sketchbooks and you're just scribbling along with me. Look, I can't guarantee a lot when it comes to art and how fast you learn, but one thing I can guarantee is that if you thumbnail like this on a daily basis, you're going to have so many more ideas than you ever thought possible. You're not going to get inside your head anymore that everything that you put down on paper has to be perfect. And I just want to reiterate, and this is something that I'm going to be repeating in all of my lessons. You have to give yourself permission to fail. Because if you do not give yourself permission to fail, then what happens is you start to overcompensate and you start to try to perfect the design. And guess what that does? It makes you fail when you didn't want to. There's a big difference about allowing yourself to fail, because then you don't get uptight and self-conscious about your design. Whereas if you're trying to make everything perfect and then you fail at it, well, that hits home, right? Especially when you're critiqued and somebody says that's not a good design. It's not fun. Not fun at all. Okay, so remember the whole theme that I was stating in the beginning. This is a warrior. Well, we can't have a completed warrior design without some kind of weaponry stowed on the back of our character. And since this, I'm just going to call it a fella, this male, he can lift a lot of weight. So let's say this is, I mentioned Nathan Jones earlier. Those of you that don't know Nathan Jones, he's a well-known character actor. He played Boagrius in Troy. You know, he was a big dude that Achilles took down. I mean, he's been in Ong Bak. Like, he's been in so many movies because he's just a hulking character. But with somebody like that, they're going to be able to lift this. Right, so put a big weapon strap right there, maybe. Some kind of holder on the back. The other thing that's beautiful about silhouettes and thumbnailing is I can just keep layering on really cool little markings here and there, and it works regardless of where it is or how you put it down. See, like this, that wasn't thought of 20 seconds ago. But now I'm thinking, you know what, there's some possibility for some It's for some wrapping right here. Wrapping as in the clothing wrapping around the body, and maybe some animal skin poking out through here. I'm already thinking about cool things that I can name this character. You know, like, is he a bad guy? Is he a nomad, just kind of travels the land? It almost looks like cowboy chaps right here. Didn't even mean to do that, but maybe that's the way the pants are kind of folding down. Maybe he's got a cybernetic type of guard on that leg. That'd be kind of neat. Okay, and maybe some clothing in the back hanging down, but I got to darken the front to make it look like there's some depth. Okay, so I definitely want to darken a little bit of the outer banks, or outer parts. There we go, something like that. And that weapon is definitely open for interpretation. If you want to say it's an axe, if you want to say it's something, magical, that's fine. I don't even know how he would get that off and of his back, and I don't really care at this point. All right, so once we got a pretty good understanding of what we want for the outside here, I'm going to number that 2. Let's move on to 3. Let's just put 3 right here. Oh, I'm not done yet. Hold on, hold up. Sometimes I'll go back if I'm really intrigued about a design. I'll go, you know what? I can probably put an indication of maybe a mask there, something on the head. I have fun doing this, and I have so many ideas that I want to pull off of each individual thumbnail, but I have to stop myself. Okay, let's move on to number 3. So number 3, we got the shorter warrior. We have this big hulking warrior. Let's have a skinny one. Okay, so a skinny one, and we won't get too fancy with the stances yet, but I think the skinny one can offer us maybe a different type of stance, a little bit more wiry. He's still a warrior, or she. I'm trying to make these body types a little big. Oh man, what did I just do? Look at that lanky arm. Okay. I didn't realize I was drawing Valdo. That was totally unintentional, but there we go. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Let's try to make this one as humanly as possible. Maybe this one does have a hood. A little bit more mysterious. Okay, just very tall. Tall and wiry. I would not want to fight anybody that's tall and wiry because their reach is probably ridiculous. Put like a little fist right there. Like he's in charge. So maybe this warrior isn't necessarily a fighter in the sense that carries around a lot of weaponry. Maybe this one is more magical. Maybe this warrior is like a wizard. You know, it would be cool. What if we give this wizard some headdress? You know, something kind of scary, I guess, but also regal. Now it's getting to the point where, hey, this is a warrior shaman. Okay, maybe the shaman has carrying some kind of bagging or something along the lines of, I don't know, traveling potions he has to keep in a bag down here. It almost looked like a mace. Like a skinny little warrior carrying a mace. I don't know. Mace as in, a spiked ball. I don't know if that would work too well. Okay, this is a little too short. I've got to lengthen that arm a little bit. Now there looks like there's something in that arm. You know what, folks? You're witnessing in real time. I have no idea what I'm drawing right here. And this is the fun part. So it looks like I have some extended calf muscles going. Okay, so we have a very athletic wizard warrior right here. Okay, let me color that in just so we can get an indication that, hey, the robe, whatever he's wearing, is casting a shadow on it. Let's put in a row of potions or pouches. Maybe a side strap here. We don't want to duplicate a side strap that we've done already, so why don't we just exit off? Maybe there's 2 straps and 2 chest emblems. Maybe there's some indications of some trinkets. Larger forearm guards. And maybe this is a bare arm right here. Like there's nothing covering it, and then this side is covered for a reason. Maybe there's an injury. Maybe this warrior has to travel the land hiding the tattoos so that he's not recognized as a sorcerer. Maybe he's trying to come off as just a nomad that you don't want anybody to know who you are. I also don't want to copy that hood on the other one. Oh yeah, well, I just made a pointed hood, so yeah, that's not attention grabbing. Total sarcasm on my part. Okay, so I think I did something that I didn't want to do. Okay, here's the deal. I need to change part of the body here, so I think what I'll do, what if we just did this? What is that big thing? I don't know what that is. It looks like an ancient weapon. It's kind of like, I don't know, a bow and arrow. Maybe there's something at the top. You all can decide what that would be. This is the beautiful thing about silhouettes. Okay, and then this one, there we go. Okay, that changed enough. So now he's holding a spear. Let's just hint at what could be a really cool front, like the blade. And then maybe some decorations like feathers hanging down. You know, maybe this staff was cut out of some special wood and only this warrior could use it. That's decked out. That's like number 1 but on steroids. Okay, or what number 1 could be. Okay, let's move on. All right, so let's move on to, I'm not even going to put the number down yet. I'm just going to draw. All right, let's do something crazy here. And I don't know what's going to happen, but let's see. Draw a face. Okay, and then I'm just going to draw an oval. I'm just going to draw. It kind of looks like a robot. Maybe the face is not there. Maybe this is the head. Now I need to put my money where my mouth is and say, you know what? Allow yourself to fail. This might be a total and utter failure on my part. What is happening? I don't know. Is this the suit? Is this a suit? Okay, I'm in that oval stage of thinking, so... oh boy. Okay. Okay, now... I'm just talking to myself as I'm desperately trying to see what's about to happen here. Okay, skinny arms coming out of a very fat suit. Maybe the head is... Oh, okay. There's a mask right there. Oh, okay, so that's the... Oh, man. All right. Folks, we may have ourselves one of the weirdest warriors I have ever drawn in my life. I mean, here I am up here for number 3 talking about this could be a wizard or a sorcerer hidden. This just looks like something out of, I don't know, Alice in Wonderland maybe. Looks like a robot, but I'm going to put the head right in here, and it looks like the person in there has to be in this suit. So what if there's some really cool piping going on and cloth mixed together? It's kind of like steampunk. Okay, let's put some shapes out here that would make it seem like machinery is steam operated in the suit. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Okay, but you know what? It's giving me ideas here, so maybe it looks like propellers. Not quite, so maybe it's kind of like a canopy of clothing in the back. And I'll just put a indication of, hey, You know what? Maybe you shouldn't mess with this dude. Yep, I think that's the way it is. So skinny, skinny legs coming out of a very fat suit, but maybe the suit is giving it its power. You know, the funny thing is, as I'm drawing this fella, I'm thinking of Warhammer and how those like massive people wearing those suits are dwarfed by the actual suit. They're huge. So what if this body was somehow morphed to where this person that's in here has to wear the suit? So like 90% of the body is skinny and emaciated. You know, kind of like Darth Vader, but Darth Vader needs his suit because of the breathing. You know, Obi-Wan did a number on him. I mean, he sliced and diced him, and he needed it, and hit him in his lung, and he can't breathe. Think of Bane from Batman. He needs that mask in the front because his face was injured. So maybe this fella is just really evil. There we go. To tell you the truth, I think I'm happier with this design than I am with all the other ones. But here's the beautiful thing about thumbnailing, guys. Hopefully by now, if you're sketching along with me, you understand the importance of this. I couldn't have gotten to number 4 unless I started with number 1 and just loosened my brain up. I allowed myself to quote unquote fail and to experiment and explore on each one. And you're going to get to designs like this where all of a sudden it clicks. Something clicks and you're just like, I'm really onto something. And that's a beautiful thing about character design and creature design. That's why I love it so much. I mean, this could be a really cool warrior, actually, or a boss. Like all these really cool, not curtains, but clothing hanging down in the back. Maybe this one has some kind of a big sheath right here. It's like a scabbard and indication of a big machete or something. Oh yeah. This is a boss. All right, this is a boss. Okay, so let's move on to number 5. This is really fun. If you're drawing along with me so far, then hopefully you've picked up some tips along the way. I think for this particular warrior, I want to focus on maybe a cool helmet or hairdo. I think that'd be kind of cool. So maybe something that's a little bit more intricate. And maybe a longer jawline or face. Notice how I'm not going into a lot of detail with the face. I don't want to do that because this is the thumbnail stage. The face isn't important if you're not focusing on faces to begin with. And also the shoulder, like the width, is a little bit more narrow. So we might be getting into a female warrior here. And like anything goes, you know, male, female, doesn't matter. Some of these can be very ambiguous. You know, for example, number 1, that could be a female too. She's cloaked. Maybe she's trying to get away with being a man because, you know, they don't like women in a certain village. Maybe this big character right here is a woman. Maybe this is a female. You know, it just doesn't matter at this point. So it almost looks like she's wearing a veil. So let's say that these cool little shapes on top of the head are actually holding braided hair. You know, that could be flowing in the wind. Maybe those are tubes, but I'm thinking how cool it would be if it was holding her hair like that, and then she has her hair up and, you know, kind of like Queen Amidala did in the Star Wars films. She had an amazing fashion design. They did a great job with their fashion. Okay, so once we have that, and I also want to see how she could be standing. You know, maybe she is regal. And she is also a warrior, so she's probably going to need some armor on her forearm, maybe maybe her shoulder, but again, I don't want to make her shoulders very bulking. Okay, so maybe she's holding a knife over here with two hands. And then maybe we can accentuate her legs a little bit. So let's see if standing like this. I don't know how this is really going to work, but I don't want to make her pigeon-toed like all female character design is. They pigeon-toe the female characters because they think it's cute. It is kind of cute. It just depends on, I guess, how you draw it. This does not look like a female. Again, I wasn't even trying. I'm just letting myself draw this. This is a very tall character, though. Could be female. Could be male. Could be a creature. Who knows? Okay. Maybe this character is trying to be very ambiguous, you know? But this one is very skinny. And I have a lot of the gait. You know, you can tell like the person's gait. These legs are kind of close together. This character is bigger, more hulking, so is this one, so a wider stance to take up more space. This one, however, it's almost as if he or she is just ready. Like they're just standing there, almost like a guard. A guard for a temple. Loose clothing. Very, very little. Maybe we can have an indication of something around the hip. Very possible. And down here for the calves, I do want to indicate that this person is at least capable of walking. Okay, so maybe there's some really cool covers for the ankles. Again, I'm just thinking as I'm drawing. There's no real set way that I want to make this character, other than it's very no bad like. I don't think this person really cares about what he or she is wearing. There's a lot of flowing clothing right here. And I did make a spear here. So maybe I don't want to make another long spear. I just want to have something with like a cool blade at the end. But it's shorter. I guess maybe it's two-handed. You know, the hilt or whatever it is stops right there. I'll put the other hand. There we go. Having a lot of fun, guys, and I hope you are too. So if you've been drawing along with me, comment below. Tell me what you're working on. If you haven't done so already, please check the links in the description for our Creature Design Workshop Discord. It's not just specific for creatures, though. It's a bustling community for all aspiring artists, no matter what you want to learn. Okay, we have monthly creature design challenges, but we also encourage people to post in the critique forum. If you just want to show off your doodles that you're working on, your personal projects, we have portfolio consultations, we have critiques and all that. We just hit 5,100 members, which is crazy. So it's forever growing. You know, we're really glad if you stop by. If you don't want to join, that's totally up to you. If you've enjoyed today's lesson, you know, I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you can learn more. I'm going to be posting 3 times a week now. So I'm going to be posting 2 long-form content videos where I give lessons about drawing, and then I'm going to be going live again each week. They're going to be on Fridays. I just can't be specific about the time, but you'll know ahead of time within 48 hours of what time that will be when I know my weekly schedule. Looks like a banshee, right? Like a spirit. Let's do something cool with just the helmet. There we go. So now if you were to see this in an RPG game, you know to stay away from that thing. Or maybe not, I don't know. But let's put a little bit more repetition for that design. So somewhere around the shoulders, maybe here on the side of the knees. That'd be kind of neat. And then maybe some of the clothing is pointed too. You know, to carry on that pointed, I guess, design language. Okay, well now it looks like a tall dragon fruit. Those of you that know what dragon fruit is. Okay. Thank you all again for watching this, and hopefully you learned something. Listen, a lot of my lessons are about thumbnail sketching and the importance of this stage. Okay, so if you're having trouble coming up with ideas, I invite you to look and watch at my other videos. Okay, subscribe so at least you can get as much out of concept art as possible from my brain. All right, guys and girls, thank you all. Peace.